Hey everybody, Aggro here with Hindu Man to talk about some of the rosters that we'll see in the Smite Pro League here in Season 5. We've got some new teams, some new orgs coming in, so we figured we'd kind of break them down for you. This video is going to be just about Europe, so let's get it started with the team that didn't make Worlds, but it was kind of a surprise that they didn't last year. Dignitas did not make any changes.
No, Dignitas is going to be the same roster that we saw at Super Regionals, had a very good summer, a very good fall split, but then it all fell apart on the run to Worlds.
Yeah, Variety, the captain there for Dig. Remember, if you're a little hazy on them, it's Variety, Zeros, Arkil, Trixtank, and Cuvo Fred making up that Dignitas roster. We expect them to kind of return to form.
I think they'll be top 2 this year. We'll see how their LAN performances go though, but online splits, I think they'll do very well.
Historically very good online. LAN, sometimes a different story for them. All right, next up is gonna be Obey Alliance. They finished top 4 last year at Worlds, but they did end up making a roster change. They switch out Emilzy and pick up iRaffer, though not necessarily by choice here, Hindu.
Well, that's the question. Was it by choice? Yeah. No one really knows. Did Rafa choose to leave? Did Rafa get replaced? That's what the whole conversation is. I think this is good for Obey. I think Rafa's gonna get into this team a lot better than I think Emilzy will on the team he's gone to, in my opinion. I think Obey is still looking like a top 3 team.
Ataraxia, the captain for Obey Alliance. Then, of course, you've got Pretty Prime, Captain Twig, Zalia, and that new addition, iRaffer. I mean, it's so hard to say what's going to happen in Europe because all these teams seem to be so good.
Very strong.
Where do you expect Obey Alliance to finish?
Well, I've got Dig in the top 2. I guess I've got to have Obey in the top 3, given some of the other teams that we're about to be talking about.
All right, fair enough. Well, Raffer's old team, Energy, that's that one change that they made as well. Captain, still Yaman. You got adapting Emilzy now in that dual lane alongside Emilito and Maniac. You think that this roster got a little bit worse with iRaffer leaving?
I don't think it got worse. I just think Emilzy's going to have a bit of a tougher time in this than what Rafa did. Rafa had a little bit more respect from the team. Not saying that Energy won't respect Emilzy, just that he's going to have to learn his way into this team a little bit and respect the other people around him too in terms of making decisions.
Fair enough. Okay, so you think that Dig top 2, Obey. This is fun because usually I'm in that seat and you're in this seat, but now I get to put you on the spot.
Top 4.
Top 4. Okay.
Top 4, basically, because I've got Diggs 1 or 2.
I wasn't gonna put you.
Obey
I wasn't gonna
at 3,
say that for you.
Energy at 4. That's kind of
look, your excuse here is that Energy usually not great online, phenomenal at LAN, so you can kind of get away with it.
But at the same time, for the Energy fans out there too, realize that Energy are really good in this sort of meta that I'm seeing right now. I think adapting could be really strong, so I may be completely wrong. But then again, I won Worlds, so
yeah, who knows? Man, what a year it's gonna be. SK up next. Lobster, the captain here, very similar to their roster last year. Only change they make is they pick up an old face, Badja, coming back to the SPL. Lobster, Funball fails, Ducky, Badja.
One of the oldest faces too. Yeah. Badja goes all the way back to pre-launch tournament as well, so it's good to see him back in the mix once again. Linking up with some old-time players as well in Lobster and Funballer, but we'll see how this team meshes together as well, because I think Badger's going to have a bit of a learning curve to get back into the swing of things. He'll have the basics down of support, sure, but things have changed since the old days.
I'll say. But in some ways, I feel like Season 5 feels more similar to Season 1 than any other season has, where, you know, it's a lot of damage on the map all at one time. So maybe Badger could fit in.
But if that's the case, then Badger's going to die for first blood on Geb every time.
Every time. You can put that in the books right now. SK, where you got him?
5th.
5th? All right, solidly in 5th. Next up, it's going to be Mouse Sports, one of those new organizations along with SK joining us in the SPL for Season 5. Excited to have them along. Their roster of Cherio, Dardes, Jermaine, the old Elevate roster, that trio with Jermaine still being the captain of this one, but now 2 new faces, but ones you might recognize. Big Man Tings, but in mid for Mouse Sports, and then Nika in the solo lane for him.
This will be the 6th place team this year. Not to be rude towards them, Big Man Ting's coming into the mid role, from playing the support role. There is similarities between the 2 roles in a weird sort of way of looking at it. However, the problem is that it's going to be a learning experience in this mid lane. And when you look at the mid laners in Europe right now, all powerhouses. Big Man Tings is going to have to step up, and that's where they're going to struggle a little bit, I think, this year.
I could see that for sure, but I do think that with Cherio, Dardes, and Jermaine, you always have some hope of having some big plays.
I'm mentioning that again, Cherio, this meta's slightly different than last year, so how will those Guardian jungles go that he really likes to run?
Look at Cherio, he's gonna just make everyone start playing Guardian jungles again, and I'm gonna be sad about it. Rival, the last team we're talking about in Europe, we're saving the best in Europe last year for last. They finished 2nd place at Worlds. no changes. When you finish second, you kind of just stick with what you got. And why would you make any changes? Deathwalker, Ice Baby, Wolfie, Kalas, and Vote. This team is set up for a really great year, I think.
Very solid performance last year. They grew so much throughout the year. I underrated them almost on purpose because they needed the growth, and the growth they showed all the way through to the finals at Worlds. And losing that finals is probably a big boon for them as well, in my opinion. Like, they won't be happy that they lost the finals, but that's something to aim for this year, to make sure they make finals and win this time round. Big thing with this team, though, I've got them in the top 2. Like I put Dig top 2. I know I said 1, but I said top 2.
By my mental math, that's where
it's rival on Dig for the title at the start of the year, I think. With how the two teams are together, we'll see how they go.
Well, there you have it. Those are your 6 rosters that are going to be joining us for the EU SPL. Again, SPL is going to start on March 20th. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.